Hello everybody, greetings and salutations. I've been looking forward to this one. This is Killing Floor 2. This is the early access version that's just come out within the last few days for the PC. It being April right now, in case you're watching this at a later date. So this is the first early access version, without any updates having taken place afterwards. And what is there to say about it? It's really, really good. Now, having put tons of hours into the first Killing Floor, I pretty much had high expectations of this one. I wanted it to be kind of the Killing Floor experience we all knew and loved, but just improved in every single way. And look at that face. It pretty much is. This is a solid framework for what is going to be an absolutely incredible game by the time it's finished, if all goes according to plan. And we'll actually talk about the early access version and the business model. I'm pretty happy with it. Now, as usual, we're going to first delve into how well the game runs, what options are included, and that sort of thing. If you really just want to see the gameplay, then feel free to click the annotation, which is probably up here somewhere, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, so let's hop right in. There are a quite good amount of options here. If we head into the video options, as you can see, there's a lot of customization here. You can turn the film grain on and off this time, which is nice. That always bugged me in the first one. And now I've recently upgraded my PC, or upgraded to a new PC. I'm currently running an NVIDIA GeForce 970 as my card. Not SLI or anything, and I'm running this game on Ultra, have never dipped below 60 frames. So it runs pretty well. But obviously the 970 is quite a bit more powerful than my previous card, which was a 660 Ti. This is also very scalable, however. I know somebody who has a GeForce 650, and he is essentially running the game on a high, with a couple other settings turned down. I think texture filtering and depth of field turned down, and he's getting a solid 60. So, very scalable. It'll run pretty well on most systems, I think. And it looks pretty good, but we'll see that when we get into it. Another thing that's kind of nice, all these different aspect ratios are included for your monitor, so if you happen to be using like an old monitor or a weird one, it's all supported. And then of course the different resolutions within your aspect ratio. Although there are only 3 here, you don't get the weird in-between ones. Those might be added at a later date, but for now, I mean, this works just fine for me. I think we're done here. Separate audio sliders, it's always good. I've got mine turned down at the moment. And you can choose to push to voice over IP, or just every time you talk it's going to pick it up. I would recommend doing that. And you can actually turn the vocals on and off in the music. This game actually uses some licensed music, so I have it turned off in the hopes that I don't get copyright strikes, but we'll see. You've got obviously mouse sensitivity. You have fully rebindable keyboard controls, which is good. No secondary bindings, so like you can't bind jump to spacebar and E or something if you wanted to do that, but it's not really that big a deal, honestly. Everything here is rebindable, I believe, so good. There is controller support. I actually happen to have a controller plugged in by coincidence. You'll notice the game switches back and forth seamlessly between controller and mouse and keyboard. You cannot rebind the controller, as far as I know. No, I am wrong. You actually can rebind the controller. That's quite impressive, actually. I didn't know. Honestly, you're going to want to play this with a mouse and keyboard anyway, but that's a cool feature. Not a lot of games actually will let you do that. And I'm actually using just a regular wired Xbox 360 controller. Worked right out the box. I just plugged it in. It's all good to go. And I think now if I go back... Yeah, switch me back to keyboard. No problems. Otherwise, there is an FOV slider, which is good. I'd recommend you crank it all the way up because the gun models are a little bit big this way. So, perfect. Always turn gore all the way up. And make sure to disable your crosshair so you get that authentic Killing Floor experience. I think that's pretty much it for the options. As far as perks, There are currently 4 in the game, that being these 4 right here. They're planning to have 10, I think, when everything's said and done. I believe there were 7 in the original Killing Floor. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that's 3 new ones. One of these is possibly going to be like a gunslinger class that uses dual pistols, which is pretty neat. Those are all going to be added, you know, as the development continues. All of these classes are quite fun to play. They differentiate themselves quite a bit, but there's also some extra crossover between them this time versus last time. And this comes from the way that the game is balanced. It's a much more effective way of doing things, I think. We'll get into it a little bit more when we actually hop into a game, but basically you'll notice that my bonus damage to my perk weapons is quite a bit less. At max level of 25, I'm going to have a 25% bonus to shotgun damage, or with Commando, 25% bonus to overall weapons, Berserker, 25% bonus to melee weapons. That's not that significant, and this is because instead of just making the enemies have more health and become bullet spongy on higher difficulties, the enemy AI becomes smarter, the enemies will come at you in bigger waves, and will gain new abilities and attacks. So it's a much better way of scaling difficulty than in the first one, where it was like, well, when a flesh pound comes through, you just have to sit there and wait for the sharpshooter to take him out, because you're not going to be able to kill him even if you empty every single magazine you have into him. What this means is that basically, because I'm only counting on this, say, 25% damage increase with melee weapons, I can actually branch out a little bit and use some off-perk weapons to vary up my playing style. So actually, although the classes all do have their specialties and things that they're very good at, you're sort of encouraged to pick up some extra weapons to, vary things up. You also notice I mentioned perk levels go to 25 now instead of 5. So you'll be leveling up more frequently and getting little bonuses in between. This keeps you playing, whereas in the first one you might be playing for, days and days and days at a time without really seeing any progress. Now you're constantly leveling up, and I imagine it's still going to take quite a while to get to 25. But it's good. Every 5 levels you're going to get a perk point that you can put into one of these abilities, and these can be switched back and forth at will, so you can vary up depending on how you want to play that day. Most of these are passives, stuff like extra ammo, extra health, more effective armor, tactical reload, which I've seen the videos, I haven't gotten this, but the tactical reload is pretty cool because they actually change the animation, they don't just speed it up, so that's pretty neat. Commando gets stuff like night vision, rapid fire, which lets you move at normal speed, or actually that would be Z time, it lets you move at normal speed in Z time, which is pretty cool. And there's other stuff like, do extra damage when your health is low, that sort of thing. I will say I feel much more compelled to play different classes in this one than in the first one, where I pretty much just played support all the time. Part of that is because you level up faster, and part of that is because they're a lot more fun to play. And we'll get into that when we jump into a match. In terms of characters, there are a few. Mr. Foster makes his return. And you can actually customize things like colors this time around, which is pretty cool. Some of the other characters also have accessories you can change. And all these characters are voiced, have their own set of little insults and taunts, which it's pretty cool. I imagine we're going to get more characters as DLC, as we did in the first one. And I mean, I'm okay with that. Cosmetic DLC, all good. Whether or not we end up getting DLC weapons as we did in the first one is another matter, but, well, we'll get to that in time, I guess, if that ends up happening. I think that's pretty much everything for what's actually in the game. Oh, there's one game mode at the moment, 3 maps, obviously 4 perks, and each perk essentially has 3 weapons at this point. They're going to be adding a bunch more. They said they want to have more stuff in this one than in the first one. So I can only imagine how much we're going to end up with by the end of it. Now, I'm going to play a couple matches in solo just to explain the game systems and why I think it runs plays better than the first one. And then at the end, we will hop into an online match and see how that goes. So we will go ahead and just hop into a game here. I tend to like Burning Paris, so we'll do this map. And honestly, there's so much about this game that I just really, really love. Don't get discouraged by these loading times, by the way. For whatever reason, I think it loads in all the assets ahead of time. So the first map you load into takes a while, but then when you load into another map, it's actually really fast. So this isn't Bloodborne. Don't worry about this. Really, the thing that I like the most about this game is the way that everything handles, and we'll see that. I'm going to start off as Commando, I think. And we'll just play through most of a match, showing off some different weapons and that sort of thing. You'll notice the game looks pretty good. It's not like the most incredible looking game that I've ever seen, but pretty good. I mean, we got some nice reflections on the ground. Good lighting. Fire looks pretty good. And what they've really nailed down this time are the hitboxes and the shooting. If you played the first one extensively, you knew that there was some weird stuff going on with the enemy hitboxes. They have absolutely nailed it down this time. You can headshot an enemy that's flying through the air doing a cartwheel, and it's just amazing. The other thing that they have is this new persistent gore system. All this blood that's gathered around the level, that's going to actually remain for the entire match. I don't know the exact technical term for how they did this, but apparently they coded all of the levels in sort of a gore map, and then it'll just texture this stuff on as you go through. And so by the end of it, if you're playing with a lot of people, and so there are a lot of enemies, the ground will just be covered in all this blood and gore everywhere. Another really neat thing is that the enemy's corpses can still be interacted with when when they're dead. So if I want to go up to this guy, I can just absolutely rip him apart. The damage modeling is actually fantastic. If you shoot an enemy in the arm with a powerful enough weapon, that arm's coming off. If you shoot an enemy in the face is gone. It's really quite something. Alright, let's ditch these. Get the L85. I actually quite like this weapon. You'll notice the assault rifles can switch their fire mode this time, so I've got semi and full.
Time's almost up.
And hopefully we get some Z time going, because I'm really impressed by that. This is my night vision ability, by the way. That's because of one of my perks that I chose. And night vision is actually kind of important sometimes, because certain areas are quite dark. In fact, if we go down the subway, I can show that off. Alright, so just watch this. You see how I can kind of sort of blow his leg off in the middle of that? Get off. I believe I'm playing on hard, right? I think I chose hard. The thing is, although this looks pretty easy, considering that this is hard mode, the game's difficulty, as in the first one, will scale based upon how many people are playing. So with just one of me, this is going to be pretty easy, actually. We start to add more people in, enemies get smarter, get more health, and there get to be more of them, then things start to get a little bit crazy. And we'll see that when we hop into an online match. You get the idea, though, I think. It's just wonderful. You'll notice that the damage modeling on the bodies even works while the enemy is still alive. So if I shoot with, say, a pistol, you see how his head is sort of like part of his face is blown off and he's actually bleeding everywhere? It's just really impressive. If I just continually shoot him in the leg,
on.
Eventually that leg's going to come off.
For resupply.
And if you're using something like a shotgun, these guys are just going to vaporize.
Now spend it.
In fact, let's switch over to... Well, we're going to switch over to Berserker, I think. Show off some of the melee combat.
I need you alive and in one piece.
That'll do. This is the pulverizer. Not only is it a sledgehammer, it in fact has an explosive tip that you can use with a heavy attack that will explode on impact, dealing crazy amounts of damage as well as some AoE and a ton of stagger. There's also a parry or a block this time around. If you time it correctly, it's sort of the Dark Souls effect where the enemy will be staggered and you can get in a counter. You can also do combos by holding down, and the melee system works in sort of a Shadow Warrior-esque style. So if you press forward, you're going to swing forward. If you press back, you're going to swing back, left and right. And so it's much better than just the, hold down the button that existed in the first one. Alright, let's wreck some fools. Oh, it's beautiful. Now because you can figure out and determine which way you're going to be swinging, this means that you can actually aim for headshots. There's the explosive tip. Ooh, this is not good. I'm actually kind of a low level with Berserker to be trying hard. But you can actually aim for things like headshots. Oh, it's vaporized. Or, for cutting arms off if you're using, say, a katana. And the enemies' damage modeling is so good that the enemies are going to fall apart in the way that you are hitting them. And this makes the melee combat quite a bit more fun than it was in the first one. Got 7 more, I should be okay. Yeah. Oop, wasn't paying attention there. That's a missing torso.
Who needs ammo?
Alright, we will switch over to another class now. The way that the weapons are modeled is also absolutely fantastic. They posted some videos, like developer diary kind of things, and show that the weapons are actually animated at 120 frames per second. What class do I want to be now? We'll try the medic. Medic is actually a lot of fun to play this time around. Try the medic assault rifle. The medic weapons feel much stronger than they did in the first one. But anyways, the weapons are actually animated at 120 FPS, so what happens is when you fire, you'll see this, the weapon actually wobbling, parts on the weapon are going to flex, and all the reload animations and everything were motion capped, as well as the enemy animations. And this really just all comes together to create quite a spectacle. Got a weapon over here. The guns all handle just incredibly well. They've got enough recoil that they actually feel powerful, but they are, easy enough to shoot that the game is still fun. You don't have to worry about things like bullet drop off or anything. But you'll notice this thing does kick quite a bit, so you kind of have to adjust for that. And one thing that I've really noticed is that this game, much more so than the first one, oh, I'm actually out of ammo, encourages you to move around more. In the first one, pretty much what you wanted to do all the time was find a spot and hole up in it. Not so this time. Maybe we got 7 left. We should be fine.
Nice work. We can reopen the trader pod soon.
Especially when you start getting big guys like the Skrakes and the Flesh Pounds, you were really encouraged to move around, adjust, and travel around the levels.
Glad to see you made it.
Which is good. I mean, it gets you to see the levels, learn the maps better. Instead of just, okay, we need to go to this point and then just hold that the entire match. And it looks pretty nice, does it not? This is running on Ultra, not a single frame drop so far. Stayed at a glorious 62 frames per second. Not sure why the 2, but I'm okay with it.
We're almost out of
Alright, we're going to do one more round.
Make your choice.
I'm going to switch over to support, which is my personal favorite, as it was in the original Killing Floor. And we'll try my personal favorite weapon. This baby. Ah, yeah.
I'm about to
One of my
shut the pod.
perks of support actually gives me, oh, look at that, an extra 50 health, which is pretty useful when trying to solo things.
Time's up. Go.
The AA-12, however, is just hands down the most fun weapon to use at the moment. Just look at that. In fact, we're going to go down into the subway.
We've got cloaked Zeds, careful.
I want to see how bloody we can make this area before we're done.
Start. Now finish the job. Ali.
You'll notice, however, that I just blew the lights out, so I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful.
I'll sort that.
In fact, even stuff like the vending machines have pretty good damage modeling on them, as we'll see here once I'm in a safe spot. Well, that's obviously going to destroy the vending machine right out of the way. Oh. Oh, we got a Skrake on the way, I think.
When you're done, I can reopen the trader pod.
If I, for instance, switch over to my knife, it's going to break off where I hit it. It's just little stuff like that that really impresses me. Alright, there he is. The Skrakes also look quite a bit more intimidating this time around. Not that they didn't before, but take a look at this guy. Yeah. Nevertheless, because I'm playing solo, he's probably going to be pretty easy to take out. I'm just going to spam at his face.
Come see. The pod's safely open. Nicely done.
Alright. And like I said, if we really want to blow up his arm, we can do that. Get rid of his legs. All this stuff is destructible. And the enemies are gonna, like I said, they're gonna blow apart where you shoot them.
Getting low on ammo.
I think you get the idea. Let's hop into an online match and check out what that looks like. It's quite a bit more intense. Sort by ping here. There are a lot of servers, I think up around 500, 600, 700. I was completely wrong, incidentally. I found 1,000 games here. Let's try and find one that's on hard that has people playing. That'll work. I want to try and get to the boss, show you guys him, because he's pretty cool. There's only one boss in at the moment. They're planning to add more as time goes on. The boss is pretty difficult, though. He's definitely more difficult than the Patriarch. And I'm going to stay with support, I think. Oh, this wave just started. Bummer. Oh well, it's all good. Gives us time to talk about the why the game's in early access, the business model, and all that. Essentially, the game systems, all the mechanics and everything are in place. This is a fully functional game. I've never seen a bug. Everything works amazingly. What they really went into early access for was just to add content and balance as they go on. So, I mentioned before, each perk essentially has 3 weapons at this point. Only 3 maps. So the game is not incredibly content-rich at the moment. It's been enough to keep me pretty entertained. But some people might see it as, you know, there's really not a lot in it right now. And I wouldn't necessarily blame you if you felt that way. That said, they chose to release this game not as a full-price $60 release, but in fact as a $30 release, so you're paying half the price of what you would be paying for a typical AAA game. At that price, I would say that if you are really into the whole Killing Floor thing, you should totally pick this up already. Especially if you have some people to play with. I do happen to have people that I play with regularly, and we're having a heck of a time. This guy is about to... Yep. It's a little bit of a different dynamic without the sharpshooters to take care of the Skrakes this time around. They got 35 left, 4 people. They should make it. You'll notice lots more enemies are spawning because there are more people on. Oh, one of these guys is getting salty. Well, shoot, I hope they make it. They should. There are only 17 left. Come on, guys.
Can't have you dying on me.
Step it up.
Can I shoot or what?
Open you up.
You're a regular slasher movie.
Yeah, they should be fine. Where's the other guy? Aim, dude. There you go. Alright, we're live.
Make for the pod and gear up.
I can probably get some people to give me money. We'll see.
Where's the next band on? Come on, I'm boiled.
And we got a few more rounds before the boss, so whether we win or not, it'll still be fun to see that. I've currently beaten all 3 maps on normal and hard. I've not tried suicidal yet. I think it might be a little early for that.
You can thank me later.
New round in.
I have to request Dosh here.
Some silence.
Start to wrap things up, as they say.
Reloading.
Who needs this?
Thank you kindly.
Spell cash for someone.
Like being chewed into pieces? My armor.
Reminds me of Christmas by the lake.
Alright,
Last chance. I have to power down the pod.
so we got combat shotgun, pump action. That should be good.
We all okay?
Good on ya. I'm alright, thanks.
Time's up. Go kiss
Alright.
some Zeds.
On this particular map, I've found that the courtyard area is in general a pretty good place to start. Oh, hello, Flesh Pound. Alright, I guess we're just gonna open up on him. Combat shotgun, not so good for taking out the big beefy guys. Yeah, there we go. It's more of a cut down billions of enemies in this sort of style. Oh, another thing I didn't discuss yet was the way that you level up. Unlike in the first one, you don't actually have to do your perk-specific goals to get experience. As long as you're killing enemies, you're gaining experience constantly. You can get bonus XP by completing objectives, so if I were to go weld doors, I would get experience for that as support. But I don't have to weld doors, which is sort of the key here. That means that you're not going to be sitting there welding doors for 50 games to try and get your next level, which was certainly the case in the first one. Look at that. Beautiful. Got a Scrake on the way. This isn't really the best spot for us to be. I don't know why we're here. I think we all just got kind of caught here. There he is. Uh-oh. And this is why we didn't want to be here. I guess we're doing okay. I mean, with 26 more, we'll be fine. Just, everything just feels so great, especially the shooting. Oh, I only got one shell left. I should probably not do that. I'll take a katana. Oh, no, too heavy. Alright, we gonna open up on this guy? Aww. Poor guy.
Let's get you restocked.
Good is new. Cheers. There's no business
He can run back and grab his AA-12. I'm not gonna take it for him.
Funny.
I should take it and sell it. Speaking of AA-12, I can afford that this round.
Don't leave on anything.
Rock on.
Take that. Fill her up. Armor. And
There's Zeds on the scope. Must close the pod very soon.
we'll stick with that.
To be done. It's so fast.
I might run out of ammo, but I can probably pick up a weapon somewhere. Let's go run around before the match or the round starts. I mean, as you can see, there's a good variety in the stages,
Hurry up. Zeds are getting closer.
what's in them. Well, I could sell that and get a combat shotgun, but I don't have time.
Break time's over. Get back
Alright,
to
I'm just
work.
gonna hope that my team decides to make their way to the courtyard. If not, I'm just gonna get eaten right away. Yep, I was correct. Alright. There we go. Can't stand up to 2 AA-12s. Lost half my armor, but you know what? It's fine. Ah, that's so lovely. And you'll notice this whole area is just getting painted red. Even stuff like the walls and the ceilings have that same treatment on them, where they are gore mapped. So if things splatter up on the ceiling, yep, there's going to be blood up there. Blood looks pretty good, too. The developers have claimed, and as far as I can tell it's true, there is no performance impact from having blood everywhere. Look at it, though. Just look at it. Oh dear, that's not a good thing. This could be where it ends. Try and go help these guys. Actually, I'm the one who needs help now, though. Dang. He's got to be so close to death. Oh boy, out of ammo. Oh, and I didn't even die with my AA-12 out. How sad. So that's an example of how not to play as a team. Supposed to, when one person opens up on the flesh pound, you know, everybody opens up. Instead, everyone just sort of ran, and we were screwed. So this is probably the end. We're not going to be able to see the boss.
Watch my back.
This guy is just about to get eaten here. Yep. Well, I think we can go ahead and hop out of this one. I do want to show the boss before we quit, so I'm going to go find a server that is closer to the end. On wave 8 of 7. What? Is that the one I was just in? I think it is. 32 people on this one? I don't know about that. Wave 6 of 7, Biotics Lab? Yeah, let's do it. This is on normal, but it'll still give you an idea. So all in all, I would have to say, if you are at all interested in this, you should definitely pick it up. There's also a deluxe edition, which contains some additional cosmetic stuff, as well as the first game, which is kind of cool. I didn't see the need to really pick it up, as I already owned the first game. I didn't really care too much about like digital art book and soundtrack and that stuff, but it's pretty good value. The first one still has tons of people playing it, and is really fun. So, if you don't own the first one, I would maybe look into that. 3 guys left, come on.
Hostile takeovers are never fun, in case you didn't know. We just need to step things up. Focus.
I might try medic, actually. We'll stay as support.
Come see me. The pod's safely
We have the
open.
best chance of surviving if I'm playing a higher level class.
Found a weapon.
Extra cash, essentially, is what I'm looking at here. More weapons laying around I can sell.
Bonjour. Come and get your tools of trade.
Alright, so at least we got the A12.
Bring up the trading controls and upgrade your gear.
Maybe I can get some extra dosh.
Cash, anyone?
Thanks, man.
Nice. That'd be the bailout.
Thank you.
You earned the money.
This will
Now
come in handy.
spend it.
Smart investment.
That'll at least fill my
Beautiful.
my gun. Get me some armor. You can get the hunting shotgun for the boss wave.
Money, money, money.
Got a weapon if anyone needs one.
Hurry up. Zeds are getting closer.
Can I make it to the ammo? Yeah.
Things will
Good.
be calm.
Break time's over. Get back to work.
Alright.
More Zeds.
So this is on normal. We should have no problem surviving this. Although I look really silly as a level 11 who is coming back to play normal mode. But you know what? It's all good. Anybody home? Oh, that was silly. Adjust the aim. Got a flesh pound on the way, that's what that big growl meant. Yes, he just fell to pieces over that.
Reloading. Weapon here.
Where's our lovely flesh pound friend?
Zeds remain.
Oh, there he is. Alright, we're opening up. There we go. See, that's how you're supposed to deal with the flesh pound, instead of everybody just sort of taking off. Are we opening up on this guy too? Guess so. Gotcha. Half the time, even though the enemy's already dead, I find myself just going for the headshot when it's in Z time, just because it looks so impressive. And it does. Grab some ammo down here, I think. We are well on our way to reaching that boss. We'll blow him up just for fun. Usually don't want to be that close to him when you do that, but you know what, it's fine.
Watch it, reloading.
I also really like the way that everything sort of desaturates, except for the reds. That makes everything... Oh, happy day. Full armor. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the in the Z time, how everything sort of desaturates, it looks pretty cool. You just get that highlight of red. Alright.
Got a weapon if anyone needs one.
Alright, so we will ditch this, we will grab the hunting shotgun, and I can actually carry the medic pistol as well. We'll do that, and you can have the rest of my dosh.
Newsflash, I'm not loving the undergroundness of this place. Damn, some serious stopping power.
Tasteless displays of wealth, anyone?
We're almost out of time. Make your choices.
This rate, I'll open my own bank.
Hunting shotgun, by the way, is just as fun as it was in the first one. With the double-barrel boomstick, as it's called this time around. Alright, we don't want to be in there, I don't think. I'm going to follow this guy.
Time's almost up.
He, for some reason, did not buy armor. You're going to find that even on normal, this boss is going to be pretty difficult, depending on how many people you have in the match.
Time's up. Go kill some Zeds.
You come here and make all this noise. How am I meant to work? You must stop living.
Alright. Probably a good idea to stick with this guy as he is a medic. Oh, he's after us. There he is. Away from the nerve gas, buddy. Probably a little wasteful to grab that, but it's okay. Now the thing about this guy is he's going to actually heal, which means that I don't necessarily want to be loading or unloading all of my heavy weaponry into him right off the bat. There comes his first heal. Get off. Oh, there we go. We're actually kind of wrecking this guy right now, though. Oh no! Spoke too soon. Alright, should be able to just unload on him now. Pretty sure that was the rest of his heals. Ouch, ouch, ouch. See ya! And I get the kill. And say goodbye to your legs.
Feel better now?
I'm dead.
GG.
Pal?
Wrecked. Alright. That was that. So, pretty much all I have to say about the game at this point is it's pretty amazing. It's only going to get better, I imagine, as more stuff is added in. Contender for my game of the year for this year, and it's only April, so yeah, there you go. Hopefully this video was entertaining and or informative. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.